Hey guys, it's Drea. So first of all, laundry, mess, 8-hour workday makeup. This is what you're getting. But I hope you want a video anyway, because this is the only time I could do it. Alrighty, I'm gonna do a really cool video. This isn't really a tag, but it's a great idea. Lisa Stevens, I'm pretty sure is the one who came up with it. She's always coming up with amazing ideas. Of course, I'll link her video on her channel down below. I have been watching her for years, so if you don't know who she is, you better go check her out. Okay, this is about your favorite palettes, but your least favorite or never use shades in your favorite palettes. And I didn't really think about what my favorite palettes are. See, 8-hour workday. And I had 1 beer with dinner. Okay. Anyways, so I didn't really think about what my favorite palettes are. I literally 5 minutes ago went back there and just pulled out my first instincts. Favorite. So this isn't the most well thought out thing, but this is what you're getting. And because I didn't really plan this morning to film this, I used something completely that is not going to be talked about in this video, but I thought I'd let you know since you're probably wondering what's on my eyes. This is the Pure Visionary palette, which I just bought the other day. This is the very first time I'm using it. So look at how pretty these shades are. I will say though, I am not 100% impressed with the wear on it. I actually added a Stila glitter just 5 minutes ago because these kind of creased a little and they kind of faded throughout the day a little. And even when I put it on, I didn't really love the way they blended. So still not sure if I'm going to keep this. But anyways, there's that. Let's talk about my actual subject of this video. So one of my favorite palettes for a long time has been this. This is the Natasha Denona number 10 of the 5-pan series. And in this palette, there are 3 shades that I wear practically every time I use it. And they are these 3 right here. I love the combination of these two. This is more of a burgundy, but I would still consider it purple. This definitely is bright purple. And then this gold chunky glitter is incredible. These 2 shades here are nice kind of metallic satins, and they are smooth and there's nothing wrong with them at all, but I never ever use them. Look at how pretty that is actually. You know, I was thinking to myself, what exactly is the reason for this discussion? What are your least favorite, shades in your favorite palettes? Why is this a video that people would want to watch? And really, I think it's more about your feedback to me or your feedback to us that do this video. Let me have some ideas. What do you think would make a great eye look with these colors and all these different palettes? I know Lisa said she might do a video using them, and I think it's a good thing because sometimes when you push yourself to try new things, great things can happen, right? Maybe it would be fun to do a video where it's a look from each palette using these shades, and you just get a quick, look at what I came up with. I don't know, just a little idea I just had right this moment, so let me know what you think of that. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with these shades, I just never use them. This is my panning palette for the year. Now, I'm not a panner, so I'm not planning on actually panning much in here. Really, my goal is just to hit pan on 2 shades in this palette. This is the NARS Loaded palette. Now, this came out last summer, and I think there are still certain places you could get it. It was limited edition, but I've seen it still available certain places. This is a beautiful warm neutral palette. There are a few shimmer shades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the rest are mattes. Actually, this black is, I don't know, it's kind of a satin, I would say. It's definitely not a matte black. Anyway, it's just a really versatile, everyday palette, which is why it's my, gold palette for this year. I have a nice big dip on that shade there, and then there's definitely some use in these two for sure. When I think about the shades in here that I use and that I don't use, I mean, I could see a lot of usage, obviously, on the ones that I use. It's obvious that I use this guy, that I've used this guy. I can even see usage on here. I use practically all the mattes. Even this black shade I use quite a bit because I use it for a liner shade, etc. Really, the shades I don't use in here are this brown, which it's kind of a really pretty brown. I don't even know why I don't use it. Actually, I think if I had to think about it, the reason I don't use this now that I look at it, very beautiful brown, is because if I'm ever going for like a metallic all over the lid shade, I will go for this one, which this one is like friggin' spectacular in terms of a gorgeous taupe. I tend to go for this one over that one every time, even though that is a really beautiful brown. I guess I just don't really do a lot of brown looks on my lid. I definitely go for taupes or lighter shades more often. And surprisingly, a shade that I almost never use is this one. Normally you would think, oh, that would be your brow bone highlight, but I do not like this color. If there was one color in this entire palette that I actually dislike, it's this one. I don't know how well you can see that. The lighting isn't that great right now. It's very super chunky. It doesn't really go on smoothly all over the lid. And as a brow bone highlight, again, the chunky factor, but mostly it's this weird like yellow undertone. So whenever there's a gold or like an opal shade or a cream shade, whatever, if it's metallic, if there is a gold undertone to it, I tend to stay away from those. I just don't like the way it looks on my skin tone. I think maybe it's because I kind of have like an olive undertone to my skin, but this just does not look good on me. I've had highlighters like this before that I've decluttered, not a big fan. So that shade really never sees any use at all. Now, talking about panning palettes, this was my last year's goal palette, which my goal was to hit 2 shades on it, and I ended up hitting pan on 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a pretty nice dip going on this one. So when I look at my usage on this palette, I can see that I have touched every shade in here. So this isn't a case of I really hate anything or I wouldn't get use out of it in the long run. I really could use any one of these, but the ones that I really don't use the most would be Warm Taupe and Raw Sienna, which these are both like matte, you would think really nice kind of mid-tone crease colors, but really I tend to go for this one instead, Golden Ochre and Burnt Orange, if I'm going to do something in the crease. So that's the only reason why I stay away from those two, just because there's better options for me in here. Raw Sienna, I could see if like I panned one of these two that I would definitely move over to this one next. And this one though, Warm Taupe, I do not think this is a warm color. Am I insane? Like, to me, it's a very cool tone taupe. So let me give you swatches of these two. So that's Warm Taupe, that's Raw Sienna. Like, look at these two together. That is definitely a warm shade, but this to me looks pretty cool tone. And this whole palette is so warm. This palette is so warm that I just don't really use this one much. Because you don't really do a lot of cool tone looks with this palette. Now, I did do a tutorial way back when, like definitely over a year ago, where I used all the cool tone shades in this palette to do a look, and I loved the way it turned out. I wore it actually 3 or 4 times to work. I really liked it a lot, because there are a couple cool tone shades in this palette, but I just don't gravitate towards them. So those are my least used shades in there. Okay, this palette I talk about to death. This is one of my favorite things. It's drugstore, it's amazing. Packaging could stand some work because it's fallen apart. But for the price, the actual shadows, not even just for the price, just the shadows themselves are really great. I mean, if you repackage this in high-end packaging, nobody would know the difference, I'm telling you. Anyway, so this is the BH Cosmetics 28 Color Foil Eyes palette. Surprisingly, the shades that I do not use a lot are not all these ones in the middle that maybe some people would stay away from. I love the color in these 3 rows. Like, I use them constantly. It's really the warm shades at the bottom and these cool shades at the top that I don't use very much. I think probably the warm shades I don't use because I just, if I want to do a warm look, you know, hi, this right here, or 100 other palettes I own. But, you know, I wouldn't go for these. I go to this palette when I want to do something fun and crazy and out there. So these 3 rows get used the absolute most. I don't even know if I've touched these ones though. Kind of same reason. These are just kind of your neutral cool tones. Alright, so over here, I'm not going to swatch all of them, but there's 3 of the cool tone shades and there's 3 of the warm tone shades. Holy crap, guys! Look at how friggin' gorgeous all those are. I mean, it's actually kind of inspiring me to want to use it. Honestly, the fact that I just swatched this purple here and I never knew it was that gorgeous, I'm kind of kicking myself for never using that before. That one is this guy right here. Yeah, and look at Look how pretty these are. Like, really. I can't with how gorgeous this, you know, you guys that have been with me for a while are probably sick and tired of hearing about this, but I just feel like I need to preach it to the masses because nobody else is doing it. So go get you this palette. The Sephora Pro Editorial palette, one of my favorite palettes to go to for colorful looks, for inspired looks. The other day I wore a look, created a look using this shade. It was that shade, right? Yeah, I think so. It was this shade here, which I had never used before. And when I used it, I was like, holy crap, this is actually beautiful. I used it all over the lid. It was stunning. So now I have used that shade, but really the shades that I never use in this palette, besides that one, are all of the shades on this row. I almost never touch these. These guys here are all kind of duochrome-y, like shifting shades, and then these two here, this is a more bright white silver glitter, and this is more gray silver glitter, and they're both very chunky, the glitters. I don't really tend to use the glitters a lot in this palette. If I do, you definitely need a glitter glue with them for sure, but I don't know, the duochromes in here I don't feel like are as good quality as the mattes and as this row up here of metallics. They just, maybe it's because they're light, they don't really show up very well. I always feel like I can't really pick them up on my brush. So I'm not gonna say it's bad quality. Everything else in here is like 10 out of 10 quality. I just don't love the way these perform. I want to get as close as possible to show you guys these swatches because look at this chunky glitter right here. I think you can see just how chunky it is. Actually, this is the darker gray silver one. That's a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be. See, I don't even remember swatching it before. These are all the duochromes there. My first thought swatching these is, don't those kind of remind you of those duochrome like highlighters from Kat Von D and that palette? And the Alchemist palette? Now, I don't own that, so I can't say much beyond that. But it's kind of inspiring me to use those maybe as a highlighter. Like that pink or that purple would be really fun as a highlighting shade. But like this yellow gold one here, it's not the smoothest. Like if I were to put that all over the lid, I don't really think it would perform all that well. But I am now looking at it a little inspired to use those as highlighters. So I'm leaving the best for last. If you were to ask me what is your absolute favorite palette in your collection, if you had to get rid of everything and only keep one, if you want to pause now, pause, go down in the comments and guess what it is. If you think you know me really well, I would be very interested to see how many of you guess right. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, it is this one, of course. Mi Vida Loca from Kat Von D. I mean, it is well known how much I love her shadows, the quality. I just ordered the 10-year anniversary palette. And this one, there's just, what can you say? It is the most beautiful rainbow of colors ever. It is beautifully laid out. The shadows perform amazingly well. They are so gorgeous to work with. I have used every single shade in this color wheel. So the shadows that I do not use in this palette are these guys in the middle. I have used every single one of those colors. Now, there are definitely ones that I use less than others. Like I would say I probably use these 3 less than probably anything else in here. I definitely use the greens. I definitely use all the yellows and oranges, pinks and purples, of course, even down to this guy here. So these 3 blues out of all the colors would be used the least, but I hardly ever use these neutrals, honestly. Like I think probably there is some usage in Stunner and Noble, which are the 2 kind of mid-tone browns there. So, you know, I might slap those as a transition, but I don't really use these guys. I hardly ever use the black, and the brown I don't really use at all either. So how boring are these swatches? Right? But yeah, you can tell they're good shadows. So this palette I bust out every once in a while when I am feeling very inspired. I just used it recently with a pink and purple look, and so many of you were asking what I had on my eyes. So if you want to know my most used shade in this palette, it is this guy right here, which is called Anthem. There is a huge dip in that That'll definitely be the shade that I hit pan on first. I'll give you a swatch of that guy. All right, I figured since you guys, you know, had to sit through all those boring neutral swatches, I'd give you a few of these colorful ones just so you can see. So these three on this side are the blues that I would say are my least used of all the colors. And then these three I would say are probably my favorites in the whole palette. So that one is called Anthem, this one is called Lemmy, and then this one is called Swoon. Gorgeous, gorgeous shades. So thanks again so much to Lisa for coming up with this idea. Definitely go check out her channel. I will link it below. If you have any ideas for me for any of these palettes, what you would like to see me do, should I do a series using, you know, one palette for a video? Should I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 looks with these palettes in one video? Like, let me know what you'd like to see down in the comments and I will try my best, absolute best to accommodate you. If you're new, I'd love to have you as a subscriber, so definitely just hit the subscribe button down below. And that is it for today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're speaking kindly to yourself, especially when you look in the mirror. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye!